Hello again, I'm Brian Jenkins, Vice President of Business Development for Ceres, here with Alan Rohrbach, the President and Lead Analyst of the Capital Markets Advisory, Roar International. Alan, you're a stickler for details. How do you create a thorough analysis to support effective investment and trading decisions?
Well, yes, you're right, Brian. I am very thorough. Some people even consider my analytic depth to be a bit over the top, but don't forget, I'm interpreting all of that in the context of decades of market experience, of which I remember a lot of what went on historically. I happen to be blessed and cursed with an excellent memory. So when we get to thoroughness, though, how do you put through the kind of thoroughness I spoke about previous in my basic advice to new traders or traders with some experience? Well, from my perspective, and you know that I concentrate on this in what I say analytically and when I train people, it's macro technical. Some people consider that a fancy term. What does that mean? Simply macro, all the various fundamental factors that can hit the market on the economic data, economic analysis, the political front, the natural disaster front. I mean, macro means summary, including everything. And on the other side, you have the technical factors. And as someone who started as a fundamentalist, doing supply-demand analysis of the pork belly market, the great, dearly departed pork belly market in the futures, I found in the early 70s that the dislocation of the inflation influences, the dollar currency depreciation, that classical fundamental analysis, which we used effectively in a more stable environment previous, wouldn't cut it anymore, because you couldn't discount all the factors of maybe something was going up because the dollar was depreciating. Was I trading soybeans priced in dollars, or was I trading dollars priced in soybeans? So we went over to the technical side, and I had some very good mentors there, very patient, led me up the ladder of charts, into averages, into overbought, oversold oscillators, and things of that type. So I ended up with a really well-rounded, and coming out of a very short-term background on the trading floor, very broad, long-term cyclical trend view. And where we end up is macro factors, very simple. All those things I mentioned, and that's part of your thoroughness, being prepared there, but then they impact price. And as news hits the market, the price moves up and down. Well, that's fine, but you just look at it and go, well, the price went down because of this, went up because of that, or do you have technical levels set up based on those multiple technical factors I discussed? Go, well, price is back down off a weak employment report in the stock market, but look, it held the first support and it's coming back up, etc. So you must marry the fundamental macro factors to seeing how the prices move in the context of the news, and specifically on where the more important technical levels are. You've got a macro technical analysis that, if you're inclined to use it, will serve you well. But here's a little secret. There used to be straight, rigid fundamentalists. There also were people, the technical side, well, all the news is in the price. In this day and age, because of all the global cross currents, political, geopolitical, economic, and meteorological, etc., you can bet most people, if they're fundamentally oriented, they tend to glance at the charts. If they're technically oriented, they know across time when the news is coming in that's going to affect the market. So I say thorough, macro technical, and make sure you have a good grounding in each side of the equation. The technicals are like the Rosetta Stone. Price movement's trying to talk to you. You better know the language to be able to interpret it. And that's what I'd suggest.